Stroud. Less telling you about our work, more talking about this, what we're here doing, and how this ties into the work we do. Today we've heard about how this park came to be, how it's been paid for with the lives of thousands of enslaved people, and we've heard about the banality of evil, how normal people carrying out bureaucratic roles have facilitated the slave trade and other atrocities throughout history. But this ability to facilitate evil did not come out of nowhere, nor did enslavement. This land was bought with money from enslavement, but the historic existence of a ruling elite who own and have the power to control access to land has everything to do with how it came to happen in the first place. We have to remember that the British Empire was not the beginning of coloniality and empire in these lands. Rather, it is simply a continuation of the degradation of the sovereignty and dignity of normal people that has been happening since the Romans arrived. Once these lands, the lands of this country, were held in common. Once they would have been used for the food, water, housing, medicine, and livelihood of many, many people. Over hundreds of years, the elites of this country have taken that land that belonged to us all and violently demanded that they have the right to own and control it, though no human has the ability to work so much land alone. Rather, they made servants of the people who worked it. And when those servants no longer made enough profit for the elites to skim off, they went elsewhere to find cheaper labour, as they continue to do. And using the broken spirits of the people of this land, who'd have their livelihoods stolen, to facilitate it. This is the context of the slave trade and of our countryside. I don't say this to justify what the people of this land did in facilitating enslavement, but they'd had their homes and livelihoods stolen and then sold back to them at a price. It's an explanation for the ways that they forsook their common humanity for the sake of themselves and their families. It's true we are not responsible for our ancestors, but we are responsible for what happens in our own time. It's abhorrent that these people who owned enslaved people have been the ones to receive compensation for the profits they lost. Those profits should never have been theirs in the first place. The Bathursts, along with everyone who's inherited and benefited from the legacy of enslavement, owes reparations to the communities their ancestors impacted. And let's be clear about what reparations is. Reparations mean the complete and whole repair of a people. It involves stopping the harm that continues and returning to those people the material resources that allow people to have power over their own lives and exist as sovereign communities. At the root, this means the return of land, because land is the means for every aspect of life. We, the working people of this country, have also had our ability to control our own lives taken from us. I don't say this to compare our situation to that of enslaved people. This is not about comparison, but rather about identifying our common oppression in order to build common power. This estate represents not only the wealth of enslaved people and their communities, but the wealth of you and me and our families. This land, managed well by educated communities, could provide food, medicine, fuel, building material and space for community activities, more so than it does now or has for a long time. Today we are here to protest the continued enclosure of land. But let us not forget that we're not just here to contest this continued theft, but to say no more. What exists here is already an atrocity, a theft before our own eyes. And it's time we as a people all started asking the question, how do we demand and create reparations for us, for all of us? We are still a people who are facilitating abhorrent atrocities. We are living in a time of ecological and climate collapse. Half our food comes from overseas. Many of our clothes and gadgets are made with slave labour still. I do this. Many of you do this, I'm sure. We know it. And this doesn't continue because we don't care. It continues because we have fucking hard lives. They keep us struggling to keep our heads above water so we don't change the system. They are holding our families hostage for our complicity in the death of the planet. We have to reclaim our land and place it in common so that we are no longer forced to do this bullshit. You and me, along with the descendants of the enslaved peoples and their communities in Africa and all other peoples who have been oppressed, exploited, and had their lands extracted from, have the right to retake the land and recreate for ourselves a livable future and dignified present. The powers that be in their thieving ways have brought us to this precipice. White supremacy, slavery, colonialism, empire, and extractivism are the driving forces behind the destruction of our planet, and they aren't stopping just because we ask. This has been proven over and over again. 1 million people marched to stop the war in Iraq. Millions have come out for the ceasefire in Gaza and a free Palestine. Again and again, the will of the people is disregarded in pursuit of profit and expansion. They're not stopping just because they ask, and they are not going to be morally compelled. We have to come together and work together to build the power and strength to wrestle the future from those who will destroy it into the hands of the common people and common sense. I'm part of SISTER, which stands for Stroud in Internationalist Solidarity Together for Earth Repairs. We're working to build community strength in Stroud as part of a network called Prayala. We work locally while also building relationships with communities of resistance across the globe to fight for reparations for all people and a future for all life. We are not alone, and with courage, we have the power to do far more than beg for scraps. We have the power to create a future where our families and our global siblings all have secure housing, good food, real education, and all the other necessary things for a healthy life. I'm very grateful to see you all out here today. I just want to say, I really believe in our power, and so grateful to see you all. And as Arundhati Roy said, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. Thank you.